Oh, I want to, you know what? First of all, I want to say assalamu alaikum to everyone. This is the Underground Railroad television show, and we come on like tonight in Chicago at 10:30 p.m. Plus, we do video production. And if you like this, press share and like, and please, any type of donation y'all can give to help out with this platform to make it better. I'm coming over from Melon Apps because Melon Apps live streaming is just not working for me. So you know what? I have I have Rev I have the Reverend. Damn, I had a Reverend on with me. Yeah, you know what? Reverend Lois on with me. And you know what? She is an activist that has been working in the community. She's not a Johnny come lately. Okay, she had tutoring and all type of things, but I'm gonna let her. You know what? Tell the people something about yourself, and you know, thank you for accepting the invitation. Okay.
Thank you, Brother Bradley. Truly, it is a blessing and a privilege to be here alive and sharing with one of God's children the things that's been happening in the world. You know, I was talking to Brother Clifton earlier. My name is Lois Trask, and I'm known as Reverend Lois. And I do believe that God has done wonderful things for all of us. And I would like to, at this time, just give him thanks first for the short prayer, if you don't mind. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come. Let that will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, power, and the glory forever and ever. Dear Lord, we come to you today, Father, as humble as we know how, just thanking you, Lord, for this day that we haven't seen before. We thank you, Lord, for our families, Father. Oh, Lord, those that are among us that are ill right now, my dear daughter, Lord, you know all about her. Have mercy upon her, Father. All the people who are sick right now, those who are listening to us all over the world, in the hospitals, in the nursing homes, behind the prison walls, look and have mercy upon your people, Father. We thank you for everything you've done, and we thank you for what you're going to do. Come into this broadcast and be in the midst of us. Thank you, Lord, for everything. These and all blessings in Jesus' name. Amen.
You know what, Reverend. I'm first, like I say, thanks again for accepting the invitation to come on the Underground Railroad television show. Not television show. I'm saying internet show.
Well, this is a TV show. We're gonna make it everything tonight.
Okay. Well, I want to ask you. You know what? Before we get started, can you tell people who you are? Who are you? Why is it important what you have to say?
I am a friend of Jesus, and Jesus a friend of mine. Oh, I am a friend of Jesus, and Jesus a friend of mine. He woke me up this morning. He started me on my way. He gave me legs to walk. He gave me a mouth to talk. Oh, I'm in love with Jesus, and Jesus in love with me. And I'm Lois Trask, Reverend Lois Trask. I'm one of 10 children raised here in the city of Chicago, state of Illinois. And I have 4 children. I have been in this Chicago area all of my life. And I'm proud to say for 72 years. Graduating from the Dunbar High School, class of 1967. This is a little portrait of our 20th year. Our 20th year class reunion picture. You might not be able to see it too good, but some of the students are there from our 20th year class reunion. A lot of them have expired, but most of us are still here. So I thank God for the training that I received at Dunbar High School. We just lost one of our teachers. Anyway, we want to thank God for the teachers at Dunbar High School and all of those students who have worked together with the student council. Things were different back in those days. I've been in church all of my life, singing all of my life as a trash singers. I have worked for the Department of Public Aid, the Chicago Board of Education, and the Department of Rehabilitation Services. Working for the state for over 31 years of my life, I've learned that the state is the most corrupt department there is to work for. And the people who are operating for us, supposedly, are really against us. And so I'm just a person who, I'm a child of God. I believe that if we tell the truth and nothing but the truth, then the truth will set us free. And so I'm a person, I'm a pro se litigant. I don't believe that the lawyers and the judges are going to violate their oath ever for us. I believe that we're stuck with a lot of demons and people with demonic ideas and things that's going to hurt God's people. But then we have people like Clifton Bradley who comes along and he says, well, let's talk about this. This is going on, and let's do what we can do about this as a group, as a family. Because whether we were born together or not, we're still sisters and brothers in Christ. And we still, we have to be thankful for just being here, regardless of the other problems we have in life. Just being alive, just breathing this free oxygen, it's just such a wonderful thing. So I'm a pro se litigant. Pro se litigant meaning that I represent myself in court. And it's not because I feel that Dunbar High School taught me so well in secretarial practice and what have you, whereas I can do better than the lawyers and the doctors and what have you. But I do know that if you know how to read and you know something about the legal procedure, then you really don't need a lawyer. And so I like to, get off into that. But there's so many things that I do.
Excuse me, you might need to bring your camera just a little bit to your, I think okay, because your head is being cut off. Okay.
Okay.
No, now we can see you, but you need to bring it down just a little. Bring it down just a little. Okay. Okay, go ahead. It's fine. Beautiful. Okay.
So, getting off as a pro se litigant, that means that you're representing yourself in court. You're not allowed to represent anyone else, but you are allowed to represent yourself. And if you don't know really what you're doing, I find that the Google, Brother Bradley, will tell you exactly what you need to do. If you tell the Google the problem that you're having, it will tell you the solution. Now, I feel that we've gone through so much in life, but I'm one of 10 children born here in Chicago, Illinois. I was raised by the most beautiful mother and father that you could ever want to ever think of having, Clara and James Trask Sr. And my mother was a victim of a 9/11 Clara Trask. When the planes hit the 9/11, my mother was watching television, and at that point she became itching. She started itching all over. Nothing we could do could stop her from itching. And so what happened was that they finally went to Little Company of Mary Hospital, and Little Company of Mary Hospital placed a stent in my mother's stomach, somewhere next to the liver. And the stent, and also her eyes were yellow. Okay. And when they placed the stent in her, she was just like nothing had ever happened to her. She sang in the church in her red suit and everything else after the stent was in her stomach. But then this Dr. Shaw at Little Company Mary Hospital.
People that don't know Little Company of Mary is, Little Company of Mary is in Chicago, but it's in Evergreen Park.
Yes, thank you. It's in Evergreen Park. And Little Company of Mary, I feel to this day, is the better hospital. of all of the hospitals so far. I think that Little Company of Mary has done some miraculous things through God. But anyway, what they did, Dr. Nishan Shah, who is now our head over in the Rush Hospital. He's one of the chiefs at the Rush Hospital as we speak, Dr. Nakin Shah. And he assigned my mother to go to Loyola Medical Center in Maywood, Illinois. And there they allowed a resident by the name of Dr. Lee to perform surgery on my mother, replacing the stent that Little Company Mary had put in. He wanted to put in a larger stent without being supervised by any doctor or what have you. And Dr. Lee placed the stent inside of my mother's liver.
And what is it? You know what? For people that don't understand what a stent is, can you give them clarification on that?
This is a copy of the actual stent that was placed in her liver. This stent is about 6 inches long. That's my mother's actual blood stain, because after 7 days, they didn't know what doctor had placed this stent in my mother for 7 days. And so when they found out that it was Dr. Lee, a resident, this was in 2002, they assigned him to go in to take the stent out. And he's the one who took this particular stent out and put it in the garbage can. And this is what was used as evidence in trying to get some justice for the killing of my mother, Clara Trask.
Excuse me, I want to, backtrack. You know what? There's somebody out there that does not know what a stent is, and if you could give them clarification on that, please. What is a stent?
Well, not being a medical doctor, or even having gone through any nursing classes, all I can tell the person who's curious about it, somebody out there might know. Here's the actual stent. This is what it looks like. But this stent was stuck inside the liver of my mother instead of on the side of the liver.
Oh, wow.
It caused her a great deal of pain. That's a stent. That's the actual stent.
Okay. Wow.
Okay. So anyway, going around trying to get lawyers to take the case. Here, my mother's suffering. No doctor can touch her because of medical malpractice, and they're giving her pain medication. And Loyola Hospital did her so. It was just ridiculous the way Loyola Hospital treated her. They put a colostomy bag on the side of her, and the colostomy bag was running over. I have a picture of my brother in the hospital with her. He had called the nurses to come to empty the bag or clean the bag, and nobody showed up. When I arrived, I called for the supervising nurse, and she took the bag and put it in a bucket, what you wash up it with, and said, "We'll come back to her later. We have other patients to see to." Loyola Hospital is the most prejudiced hospital that there is in Loyola, and now they're talking about everybody go there for this cancer detection and what have you. I'm telling you, I have pictures where they burned my mother from her stomach through her back from the radiation. They burned her. She was totally black. Totally burned her stomach. And again, there's a big picture of my beautiful mother and my father. And my mother suffered so because Dr. Lee. And do you know what happened to Dr. Lee?
No, what happened to him?
In 2002 is when he killed my mother. The Medical Association awarded him a medical license, and he's been at the Mayo Clinic as one of the head doctors there for years. Okay. Since 2020, in 2004, they gave him a license in 2004, knowing that he killed my mother.
Is he still practicing?
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. And now, so because we couldn't find a lawyer to take the case, Brother Bradley, and having been a sworn-in paralegal myself and able to read, write, and count, $20,000 to open up a medical malpractice case that's already a shut and closed, open and closed case. It was too much money, and no lawyer would take it without, pro bono. They talk about you'll get a lawyer pro bono. That's a bunch of crap. They want money or they don't do anything. So anyway, as a pro se litigant, I opened up a case. My mother died 3 weeks after the stent had been taken out of her liver. Wow. And when he pulled the stent out of her liver, Dr. Lee said to me, "You might as well call your family because your mother will be dead in 30 minutes. And I said to him, "Well, did you get the stent out of my mother?" He said, yes, I did. I said, "May I see it, please?" And so this chump went and got the stent and showed it to me and then threw it in the garbage can. Okay. So to make a long story short, I filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Dr. Lee, Dr. Shaw, and Loyola Medical Center in 2002, October 2002. Here's and in August of 2005, I was awarded, and my family, a $12 million judgment, against Dr. Lee, Dr. Shaw. You can see Lois Jones playing Dr. Lee.
You said $12 million?
$12 million. Let's go on back here. And now if you can see here, we go down. It says here. Okay, let's get over here. There we go. $1 million for survivalship.
Yes.
Another $1 million for pain and suffering, and $2 million to be divided among 9 children.
Excuse me. 1 second. Was this decision decided on by a court jury?
This was decided by Judge Richard Elrod. This was
Elrod? Okay.
This is Judge Richard Elrod. I'm trying to get this in here where you can see the docket. I want you to pay attention to this docket number if we can get it up here properly. I'm not used to doing this. Here we go.
Okay.
You see that docket number 02L142299?
Yes.
That's the court docket number. My mother died in March 2002, and this case was filed October 2002, 02L14299. And as you can see, this is a certified copy of the judgment. It was entered by Judge Elrod, Richard Elrod, on August 22nd, 2005. And here, it's a certified thing. It was certified here April 5th, 2010. Do you see that? But notice here.
I see it.
Notice here that the distribution date. Notice the distribution date.
I mean, that's unbelievable. Somebody would just.
Distribution date is set for October 5th. Okay, October 5th, 2005. You see that? That's the distribution. That means they were supposed to have had the money there on October 5th, 2005.
Yes.
To make a long story short, the attorney who was representing Loyola Hospital, his name is Lawrence Helms. Lawrence Helms has represented 19 medical malpractice cases in the federal court, of which we have docket numbers. Anything that I say to you, I can give you docket numbers. And he has won 21 cases as of 2017. I don't know how many he's won since then, but anyway, Lawrence Helms, according to the Attorney and Disciplinary Commission, Lawrence Helms was never licensed to practice law in the state of Illinois.
Are you serious?
Do you see that? Do you see it? Lawrence Helms was never allowed to practice law in the state of Illinois. Lawrence Helms right there. You see his name? Okay. Now, Lawrence Helms has won so many cases and he's given so much money to different lawyers. Here's the false appearance that he filed on my mother's case. he filed this, and he said that he was an attorney. Here's his law firm right there on the form, Swanson, Martin, and Bell. They're all crooks. They know that the man was not a licensed attorney, yet he owns Swanson, Martin, and Bell. He owns Swanson, Martin, and Bell.
You know what I like to ask you? Why, if you have all of the evidence, why is it that a lawyer won't take your case? Because you've already done the legwork already. I don't understand if you can.
Right. Well, that's a good question. But what I want to say is that because the Chief Judge Maddox in 2007 changed the docket number. Now, mind you, the money was supposed to be paid in 2005 under 02L14299. The Chief Judge Maddox changed the docket number to 07L1342 over my objection. But now there was no money ever entered in 07L1342. And the statute that he used to change the docket numbers was obsolete. Okay? Hadn't been used since 1987. And he did this in 2007. And so Dorothy Brown, our clerk of the court, she was the one who initiated a they fraudulently placed a brand new case in the courts in 2007 when he changed the docket number, claiming that I was not satisfied with the $12 million judgment that because there was three defendants. Loyola Hospital, Dr. Lee and Dr. Shaw, and each one of them had to pay severally $4 million. It's a lot of money. So it's really $12 million because they did not really, at this point, there should be interest on the $12 million. You know what I mean? There should be interest. But by them changing the docket number, they went until 2012 and said, we're putting both of these cases together and we're dismissing these cases because Lois had no right to represent her mother. So Judge Elrod was so smart when he entered the order. Plus, they had been barred. I had barred the defendants, even though they hadn't filed an appearance. That's why the default judgment was granted. And they only had 2 years to vacate the default judgment. But what happened was that Judge Maddox, the chief judge, and and Lawrence Helms got together. Lawrence Helms sent him a letter. I got the judgment was entered August 22nd, 2005. Lawrence Helms, the imposter attorney from Swanson, Martin, and Bell, sends a private letter to Judge Maddox, Judge William Maddox, who's the chief judge in the law division. And he says, there's going to enclose is a courtesy copy of an unusual. Let's see if we can get that in the screen there. No, I guess we can't get, but it says enclosed there's a courtesy copy. Let me read it. Enclosed is a courtesy copy of an unusual motion set for a hearing on September 8, 2005 at 10 a.m. So they went in, Lawrence Helms and Judge Maddox, and vacated the judgment. And so when I went, they did this on September 8th and did not notify me. So
Lord have mercy.
When we went in to collect from Judge Elrod on October 5th, he says, Judge Elrod says, well, I can't do anything. He says, they stopped all of that. He said, Judge Soriano. So Judge Soriano, he's still on the bench too. Judge Soriano,
I cannot, you know what, this is mind-boggling to me because you know what I don't understand. You have documentation proving that you won, and you have the settlement numbers tabulated. I can't put my mind around it. If you have evidence, I don't understand how they not giving you the capital out of money. I don't understand.
The reason why I won is because they never filed an appearance on the case, on the O2L case. And they wanted to start all over with a new case that Dorothy Brown and Judge Maddox opened I knew nothing about the case, but they opened it in my name and used a pauper's petition to do it and got away with it. And
somebody forged you. Somebody used forgery then, huh? Somebody forged your name.
I call it fraud. No, they took the same complaint that I had in 2002 when my mother died.
And they just
put a new, yes. Yes, that's what they did. The same complaint, but they didn't even service anything.
You need to come over just a little, because your face is out of the picture.
Okay,
they there. Okay, you're good. You're good. Okay.
They didn't service anybody in the case. Okay, in the 07L case, you have to serve a person, number one. And I went to the Supreme Court, appellate court, and listen, the Supreme Court appointed Judge Maddox to the law division. Okay. So all of the cases and that's been tampered with and dealt with by Lawrence Helms and Judge Maddox, and there's another one, Kathy Flanagan. She's another one there that, she is really treacherous. And they're not doing what the law says do. They're doing what they want to do. She claims she took my mother's case home one night. And
move over. You're out of the pit. You're out of the picture again. So, okay.
She claims that she took my mother's case and went home one night, and that she
come over just a little. Okay.
Can we open this?
You're good. You're good now. You're good.
Okay. So anyway, she took the case home one night, and every case that we ever had, Kathy Flanagan dampered into it, and she's the one who put both cases together and dismissed both cases. Okay. And she had no jurisdiction to do anything with the 02L case, nor the 07 case, because until there's service in a case, there's no jurisdiction. No judge can do anything. But the appellate court said, Judge Maddox was right in changing the docket number from 02L 14299 to 07.
Your face is like on half of the picture. Now you're good. But go ahead.
Okay, well, you can hear me. You can hear me. Okay. So what happens is that only thing we can do in order to get the money, some of my sisters have died. My brothers, a couple of my brothers is deceased, but I'm still seeking justice for my mother in docket number 02L 14299, because I was effective in, obtaining the 622. That's a requirement for all medical malpractice cases. And I met all of the necessary discovery requirements and what have you. They failed to answer to discovery. They failed to answer to the complaint. They admit, no, after 2 years, and I have the transcripts, all of these records of transcripts, I have boxes of transcripts. Okay. Wow. Every time I went to court with them, I got a record of everything that happened, everything the judges said, and everything is right in these transcripts. And I know that if they don't have any type of help that they're going to give to pro se litigants, what they're trying to do now is to harass pro se litigants. I was at the courthouse in July 2012. And when I got off of the elevator on the 21st floor, I went downstairs to file a motion to lift the stay on the money that Judge Soriano placed on the money in October of 2005. He had no jurisdiction to place a stay on anything. The only thing they could have done, Mr. Bradley, by law, was to put in a motion to vacate the order of judgment, of default judgment. They had to do that within 30 days or within 2 years. Okay. And then they had to vacate the order where Judge Elrod appointed me the administrator of my mother's estate. Okay? And then they had to vacate the order that barred them because they failed to answer to the complaint and they failed to answer to discovery and to answer a plea. So,
excuse me, I got to tell you something. Only a third of your face is showing, but go ahead. If that's what you want, because you keep on. Well, go ahead.
Well, I'm gonna move the screen over a little bit. Maybe that'll help. No, it doesn't help. I can see what's happening here. Now I'm gone completely.
Okay, now it's perfect. Okay, but go ahead.
Okay. So anyway, they don't have any help for pro se litigants, and the reason why I don't have the money is because I'm a pro se litigant, meaning I represented myself, and I'm an African American female. They've discriminated against me. Had it been a white woman to get that judgment from Judge Elrod in 02L14299, then she would have had her money. And I told them, the case was over when they admitted that they didn't file an appearance after 2 years. The case was over. Any judge knows that. Any lawyer knows that. The Supreme Court knows that. The appellate court knows that. The Supreme Court are the ones that we went to first. When we didn't get the money, we went to the Supreme Court for a supervisory order. A supervisory order means, hey, these people have done something wrong down here. They were supposed to issue this money on October 5th. So, so the Supreme Court said, oh, we don't see anything wrong with what they did. Okay. And Lawrence Helms, the imposter attorney, sent the Supreme Court a brief, and they approved his brief. Okay. And the appellate court has approved briefs from him, not only in this case, 02L14299, but in other cases. I could call out the numbers. We probably will at another time. But
I'd like to ask you, have you made an attempt to go to Operation Push, Rev Al Sharpton's organization? I forgot the name of his organization. Have you made an attempt to go to Operation Push? This is located in Chicago, Al Sharpton's organization, to try to get assistance?
Well, I'll tell you this much. I don't even mention those organizations because, if you don't have any money up front for them, you get shut up. Okay.
I didn't know. Okay.
All right.
I didn't know that.
I'm talking about all of them. So I won't call their names. They don't want me to call their names, but I can, because I'm not under an oath, like they were. But what happens when our people speak out? Let's look what they did to Dr. King. Some of those same people were involved. Look what happened to Malcolm X. Some of those same people. Oh, you understand?
Yeah.
And what do you think they're going to do with us? But all we can do is tell it. Now that God has fixed it for everybody to be over this internet, it's a shame on them. Because
I thought Operation Push would, because it seemed like Operation Push helped a lot of people, but okay.
Well, that's opinion. That's your opinion. I say that, well, that's your opinion. They say usually if you can't say something good about somebody, you're not supposed to say nothing at all. And I know that I'm not supposed to, but when you know good, you just know good. And I know that Jesse Jackson Jr. and Jesse Jackson Sr. and all the rest of them, Emil Jones and all of them stopped me, wouldn't even help me to see my father. What's it, Danny Davis, all of them. So I don't want to start talking about them. But they couldn't help me see my father because of this crooked court system. And because of them, I wasn't able to see my father to this day. My father died. Gatlin's over at Gatlin's funeral home, Marguerite Gatlin's. She tells me, "Oh no, we can't let you see your father's body." I said, "Why? You might steal his body," she says. So to this day, I never saw my father, because the only person that tried to help me during this time, that there was turmoil in the family, and my mother had just died. That's 2002. So, Dad was still grieving mom after 57 years of marriage, And during this time, the court said, if Lois goes within, Judge Riley, he says, if Lois goes within 10 yards of her father at any time, she's to be locked up.
You had a restraining order. Huh? Okay.
No restraining order. He just entered an order. He didn't even have jurisdiction over the case. But Thomas Brennan from the public guardian's office and Judge Riley and some of those other judges down there. There's another one down there, a black judge they put down there now. He's just about as worse as Judge Buzinski. Buzinski and Judge Mary Ellen Harris. Mary Harris. They were bed lovers for about 20 years or so, and adjudicating the case. I allege that they were adjudicating cases from the bed. So
your face is out of the picture again, sister. So
what happens July 12, 2012, when I get down, I file these papers on the 8th floor, and I go upstairs to get a motion date. At that time, you had to go to the clerk and get a date for the motion to be heard. And this was a motion to lift the stay on the judgment. And the big fat sheriff Thomas Boyd, big fat 400-pound guy. When I stepped off the elevator on the 21st floor in the Daly Center, July 12, 2012, he grabs me when I stepped off the elevator, he grabbed me and he hit me in my head with his fist. And he says, "Didn't they tell you not to file any more papers on this case?"
Did you have any witnesses?
I had nobody with me. I'm on the 21st floor. Okay. He handcuffs me right outside the elevator. When he hit me, all of my bags and my papers and everything fell. And here comes this black sheriff.
You need to move over. You need to move over a little. Sister.
She picks the things up.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
She picks the things up, and then he drags me to the last elevator, and he says, "Stand such and such a way." And I didn't understand what he was saying. He had already hit me and said, "Didn't they tell you not to file any more papers on this case?" Anyway, they take me downstairs.
I have to ask you, there are cameras in there. And you know what? And the thing is, if the charges are brought against somebody for doing things like that, there are cameras in there. So you did not bring charges. There are cameras, and they have to keep those tapes for a certain amount of time. So I don't understand why you didn't. I don't.
Listen to me. So after they harassed me and hit me and everything else, they took me downstairs. There's a jail downstairs in the Daily Center. There's a jail down there. It has a very nasty toilet down there. The toilet needs to be cleaned. It doesn't have a top on it, and they didn't have any toilet paper or anything there. Okay. Anyway,
excuse me for 1 second. Now. I'm trying to rationalize something. If an individual did that to you, there are cameras in that location, and you know what? And they keep those tapes. I'm interested in knowing if you was not wrong, and you know it's cameras in there. Why didn't you bring it to somebody's authority? There are cameras in there. I wanted to know that.
Okay, what they did. Let me finish telling you, and then I'll tell you the whole thing.
After
they arrested me, they decided to take me to Northwestern Hospital and tried to commit me in the mental ward.
Sounds like you don't want to answer that question, but go ahead.
I will answer the question. question. So the charges, they charged me when they sent me back from Northwestern after they found out that the doctors would not admit me into the mental ward. They took me back to the Daily Center, fingerprinted me, 11:30, 12 o'clock at night, they put me out. Okay. So I filed a lawsuit against them. All of the sheriffs who hit me, who arrested me, Northwestern Hospital. I had the ambulance because the ambulance took me from the Daily Center to Northwestern Hospital. Luckily, my son was outside driving around waiting for me to come out from filing these papers. So anyway, the officer says that, the doctor told him that, we can't admit her. She seems intelligent enough. If she needs her a psychiatrist, she can get her own psychiatrist. So they had to let me go. They took me back to the Daily Center. Then they charged me with trespassing to state-supported land. So we went to court 4 or 5 times. I had a public defender. Of course, I won a jury trial. Whenever you're not guilty, you never go in without a jury trial. And some people have been guilty and gone in on a jury trial and got out of on a technicality. But I asked for a jury trial. So then the public defender, he's going to, no, just take 2 years for trespassing and trying to talk me into taking 2 years. And my dear friend, Mama D, she told me, she said, you didn't do anything. She said, don't you take that. Don't you take that from them. This and that. So I told her no. I told him, no, I'm not going to take that. And we wanted a jury trial. So the judge had them to turn all of their records over to me. And that's when I found that Judge Flanagan had written a note to the sheriffs saying, Lois Jones is going to be in my courtroom on such and such date, and I'm going to need special attention for her. They claimed that's the reason why they grabbed me off the elevator. That wasn't even a court date. I had my house slippers and everything else. I wasn't even dressed for court. So anyway, finally, after going to court, demanding a jury trial, you know what they did? And I also motioned to dismiss it because it was fraudulent. I was not trespassing. Come to find out, they had to drop the charges because the Daily Center is not owned by the courts. The Daily Center is owned by a private entity. And only that private entity could tell me that I had to stay off of that land. So they had to drop the cases, but that's still on my record that I was arrested for trespassing on state-supported land. Kim Fox wouldn't do anything about it. The judge denied my motion to quash it and give me my fingerprints back. So they want to do anything they can to Negroes. That's what it is. Because we have our rights and because we are fed up with what they have done to our people, they've been doing it. They're going to continue to do it. There's nothing we can do about it. What can we do? You know, pray. That's all I know how to do. And that's what I'm still doing. But right now, everybody's going back into the court. Not only Judge Rowley and Judge Maddox and Kathy Flanagan, but we're going after some of the new ones who have also came in on the same, they call it the RICO Act. That's what it is, RICO Act.
Well, what is it? What is that act? What does that act involve?
That's an act of unethical judges getting together and doing things that, you know, in a group like gangsters. Okay. The courts, they have their own laws. The Supreme Court, the appellate court, they all have their own laws, but they are violating their own laws. Just like this, if $12 million was granted for the death of my mother, then they have no reason to change the docket number on a case. To change the docket number is fraud by itself. And so the Lawrence Helms, the imposter lawyer, him, as I told you, the attorney registration says he never applied for a license to practice law. Okay. And Lawrence Helms has been supported by the judges in the federal court and the judges in the state court, and they all know that he's not a licensed attorney, and they've all gotten kickbacks. They've all taken funds. I think the $12 million lies in the hands of Judge Maddox, Dorothy Brown, Kathy Flanagan, Judge Riley. There's another one there. Who else did I call? I missed out on. But, you know, we just have to, you know, I thank you for the time to talk about some of these unethical judges. Some of our people listening out there might know some of these things that's been happening to them, and they've had no one to talk to about this situation. And some of the people, that's why I'd like to just give my phone number, if you don't mind, for anyone
Go ahead.
who feels that they might want to join in on the bandwagon, or they've had something to do with Lawrence Helms representing them or their family, their loved ones in a wrongful death case, or if they just need to be referred to.
What is your telephone number? I can put it on in there. So what's your telephone number? You want to?
I can be reached at 773 977
Okay.
4498.
4498. I'm going to put it there where people can call you. Okay. I'll put it there. It's down there at the bottom. Okay, go ahead. Oh, no, you know what? I got an error there. Oh.
Yeah, you can't see that. You can't make it any larger than that?
I will.
Some of the senior citizens might not be able to see that. Maybe better darken.
Okay. I'll make it larger than that. Okay.
So I have a problem with the fact that, for example, this Rickenhouse case. We haven't heard not one person, not one judge, and one lawyer say anything negative about that particular case. And
I don't know if judges usually don't talk about cases that were already heard and decided on. I got that wrong. And they don't. I don't believe they do. That's been their protocol in the past. Still, but go ahead.
Well, I don't believe that I believe that they have lunch together. They go and play golf together, and they figure out what they're going to do on the cases about 2 or 3 hours before the case actually begins, and the decision is already made before they leave the judges' chambers. So when they get into the courtroom, it's just a showtime. Yeah. There's no justice out there for us. There's no justice, period. And one of the judges, Kathleen Flanagan, she says, no pro se litigant has ever won any substantial amount of money, and you won't be the first. And that was in 2007, 2008. She said that. Excuse me. She's the one who canceled the cases. I said to her, well, I won the money in 2005. What are you talking about? Now whether I get the money is another horse of different color, but I won the money in 2005. And until somebody vacates that order, but it's too late for them to vacate the order.
Have you made an attempt to get the federal government involved in this?
Oh yes, I wanted to bring that up. I'm glad you brought that up because the feds were informed about this when they first changed the docket number in 2007. The feds were informed in writing about Lawrence Helms representing all of these cases and not being a lawyer and owning Swanson, Martin, and Bell law firm. And the FBI, Mr. Cooney or Rooney, whatever his name is, I have it written down, but he says, don't call us anymore about any more complaints about Lawrence Helms or Judge Maddox. They don't want to hear any more complaints about it. And when I called the police about them changing the docket number and taking the $12 million, they said, well, we can't do anything about it because it's over $500. So we're going to forward it to the FBI and they will take care of it. So you see what I'm saying? They're all in this thing together. They're all in it together and they're all against us, But, I always said that, if I have to come out of the grave to get the money for justice for my mother, I'm going to keep on going. There's no statute of limitation on fraud. Okay?
So are you looking for, what your telephone number is there? Are you looking for a lawyer to assist you?
Not at all. Okay. Not at all. Now, I mean, I could give you the names of at least 30 lawyers or what have you, including the Crocklin organization. Okay. Johnny Cochran's group. And they're all really, as you said earlier, the case has already been won. All I needed to do was to collect. And according to the order, I was supposed to have collected October 5th, 2005. So that never happened to this day. And the case has never been vacated. So how can she just come in and get the case and just dismiss it? And she never even adjudicated the case. But they can.
It's mind-boggling to me. I don't get it. You know what? You won the case, and you have documentation as evidence that you won the case, and they don't want to give you the capital. They don't want to give you the money. I don't. You know what? It's like I don't understand. I understand what you're saying. I don't understand their actions. I don't get it. It's got to be somebody that you can go to in a higher position.
I just told you the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is involved in this fraudulent act. The appellate court is involved in this. They have gone against their own. The Supreme Court. They're the ones who said that Lawrence Helms is not an attorney. It's from the Supreme Court. You see that? The Supreme Court. They're saying that he's not an attorney, but the Supreme Court granted his brief. Okay, they granted his brief, and really, I only went for a supervisory order. I was not appealing the fact that I won $12 million. I was asking for a supervisory order to make them obey the law, obey the court order, or make the other party, make the other party come in and. Make the other party come in and have at least file an appearance. They could have at least said, okay, we had an accident. We allowed Dr. Lee to cut on her mother and put the stent in the wrong place. We were guilty of that. We're sorry that happened or whatever. To this day, they never even admitted to that. Okay. They never admitted to that. They never answered to the complaint, period. In either one of the cases, the 02L14299 or the 07L1342. Go on.
So let me ask you something though. So what is going to be your recourse of action now, and what do you want people to do to help you?
Well, number one, everything costs money. Everything costs money. I'm working for a $12 million judgment. I've had people from our card club donating for stamps and papers and ink and what have you. And we've been doing it. We have boxes and boxes of things on this case, and whatever that they feel they can do. Somebody might have a legal mind out here that they've been trying to utilize for quite some time. There might be an attorney out there who's been disbarred, who might want to tip in and say, well, hey, you can do this, and you don't have to tell them I told you or whatever. Any advice, whatever God sends my way, whatever help, financially, mentally, physically, I'm all for it. I'd like to be able to help a lot of people who are unable to help themselves, and by making referrals. But if we make a referral right now, who would be the attorney that you would make a referral to, that you would trust right now? Could you name one for me?
But he's a criminal attorney, Flint Taylor. But he's a civil rights attorney, though.
Well, he's a crook too.
Is he?
Yes.
Okay.
How many civil rights cases has he won? And I've had cases with Flint Taylor. Flint Taylor is just a front. And there's another guy out there with him, Footermore or something like that.
Yeah.
Footerman, something like that. Flint Taylor and Footerman. Boy, please. They're all in any of them that are licensed to practice law. They are all under an oath. They cannot talk about one another. They cannot go against one another.
No. Okay.
We're not going to do it. So Flint Taylor, he's supposed to be top number white lawyer, but no. Do you know any person he's really got a nice settlement for?
You know what? What was the guy's name? I think Mr. Porter. I forgot what Mr. Porter did though.
You're not talking about. You're talking about. Oh, not Howard Morgan. You said Porter.
No, not Howard Morgan. Howard Morgan. It's sad what happened to Howard Morgan. For people that don't know who Howard Morgan is, I think he got shot 27 or 25 times.
28 times. 28 times.
And you know what? And went to jail
by the Chicago police officers. He got shot by the Chicago police officers, and he was an officer, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was for the railroad. For the railroad. Yes.
Okay. And so they shot that man 28 times, put him in jail, found him guilty.
I know.
We were at the trial. They found him guilty. And the bottom line is that he had no gunpowder on his hands, period. So how could he have shot anybody if there was no gunpowder on him? But when they found out that he was going to live, they went to the hospital and placed him under arrest in the hospital. His wife told me this. Okay.
Yeah, I had his wife on my show one day,
Yeah.
You know what?
And she did everything she could for him. She did everything she could. She sold her home and her jewelry and everything else for her husband's defense. And during the trial, those lawyers that he had wouldn't even object. Okay. And I'm telling everybody out there right now, if you're in trial and there are no objections made during the trial, then you have no grounds to appeal, period. You don't hear your attorney or you make some objections during the trial. And objections means there's something wrong, that's not right, or that's not true, or whatever. But if there's no objections, then you can go to the appellate court all you want, and you will not, you will lose. Okay. There's no objections. Now, in R. Kelly's case, we can talk about that too. I want to talk about that because nobody else is going to talk about that.
You move your head over. You keep on. You shifting your body.
I'm getting comfortable. I'm getting very comfortable talking about this. This is a joy of my life to talk about this. And thank you very much again, Brother Bradley, for this opportunity.
Thank you. The honor is mine.
Oh, you're more than welcome. Mr. Robert Kelly, I know they tell me he's done some very nasty things to a lot of people. And I know, for one, my girlfriend who raised him when he was like 12 years old, when his mother put him out. And she called me to hear him sing, and he was okay. But I told him he was okay. He was playing the piano and everything. I was a little boy, and he somehow or other, he got beside himself. Even after I told him, I said, well, he sound okay. About 3 or
Mhm.
4 years later, that boy popped up with, I believe I can fly, making all
Yeah.
kinds of whatever. And he had an attitude with a lot of people, I understand.
Mhm.
Okay. Even my girlfriend who assisted him, and she used to take food down to the studio for him. Her name was Lois Hood. And Robert told her, you know, everybody loved her cooking. She's a very good cook. Okay. I even love Dolores' cooking. And
Mhm.
he told Dolores, oh, when I ask you to bring me food, you don't bring food for everybody else. And she says, well, Robert, I'm paying for the food, and they have to eat too. And, well, what did I say? So she stopped taking him food to the loft because of his attitude. So I
Very
know,
arrogant.
yeah, he
Very
probably
arrogant.
had, you know, you get up in fame, you get a little arrogant, what have you. Now, this man has been a famous man, into money, and there's hundreds of women that claims that he screwed them or had sex with them. Let's put it that way. We're on national television, right? Right. He had sex with these women. You know, he had to be a mighty good man to have all the women anyway. So they say he was licking or pissing on them or whatever they claim he was doing. I, as a paralegal, a sworn-in paralegal at that, I did not hear one of them say he hurt me. I did not hear one say, here's a police report number. I didn't hear one says, here's a doctor bill. So all of this is coming up because this guy decided that he's going to make a song whether the white man wanted to like it or not. And so because he wasn't obedient to the master, you know, they're whooping his tail worse than they did Zimmerman for killing McDonald. The boy's already been in jail. And for what?
But let me ask you something. There's something called statutory rape. Okay. So what I'm saying is if you are manipulating a minor to do things that are unconscionable in that area when it comes to sexuality, that is against the law.
Well, if there's no police report, if there's no parent who was concerned enough to go to a station and fill out a police report, it couldn't have happened. It might not have happened. But these young girls nowadays, they know more than us older, especially the senior citizens. You know, I had one that was on the bus. I'll tell you, that's why I got a little used car, because I was on the bus, and there was about 4 people on the bus, including myself. And 5 with the bus driver. But this little couple got on, and the little girl's dress was maybe to her hips. Her skirt was to her hips, and he had his pants down to his hips. And they're standing right behind the bus driver. They didn't go to sit down. They're standing behind the bus driver, just smooching and kissing, grinding. Nobody on the bus said a word. And the girl must have been about 18. He must have been about maybe 19, whatever. And nobody said a word. So I stood and I said, well, I think you need to take that to the hotel. And she says to me, you old bitch, you just jealous because you ain't got nobody kissing on you. She said, what you doing riding that bus anyway? How come you ain't in a car? What you doing? You old. I said, you know what? I said, you got one more time to call me old, and I'm going to have this bus driver to stop this bus, and I'm going to have you arrested for insulting a senior citizen.
Yeah.
So then the guy stepped over to say something in her behalf. And I said to him, I said, what's 9 times 7? He looked at me, and he just went and sat down. He went and sat down. He didn't say no more.
But I want to go back to what I originally said. When a older man is with a younger woman, you know what? That is classified as statutory rape. Okay.
Only if charges are pressed. Only if charges are pressed.
Yeah, that's true.
You can't say, you know, you didn't see him with the little girl. They said he did it. But if he did it and he didn't get caught, you know, especially when we look at the Rickenhouse case, when we saw he did it and he didn't get caught, and he did it. We all know he did it, killed 2 people. Yeah. So we didn't see, there's no evidence on R. Kelly saying that he killed nobody. No blood was shedded. Nobody went to the hospital. There's no doctor reports. Plus, they utilized all of the information. They flew these people, the witnesses from Chicago, to testify. They gave them overnight hotels Saturday night, Sunday night,
Mm-hmm.
Monday,
Mm-hmm.
Tuesday, they all testified
Mm-hmm.
against R. Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday, they all were sent back home to Chicago. All
Mm.
right. R. Kelly was found guilty. Now they're coming in and they're charging him here in Chicago for these same charges that New York has already charged him with. The same witnesses, like somebody's dumb. You know, the lawyers know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. It's double jeopardy. There you go.
It's double
You don't have to
jeopardy.
be a lawyer to know that. It's double jeopardy.
No, I like that. I like to pose another question to you. Why would an older man want to manipulate somebody that's old enough to be his daughter to put her in a position like that?
You know what?
Why?
All I can say is that it happens. It happens. And when something comes as a result of that sexual affair, there's nothing you can say, because if the woman was gullible enough to lay there and she wasn't hurt and she went back to get it several times, believe me, she liked it. She either liked it or she liked the money she was getting. Yes. Yeah. If you commit a crime, then you have to serve the time. If you commit a crime,
question about that. Unless you got a good lawyer.
Well, you know what? The man told me, I used to work for attorney Mitchell Smeagol. I was his reader, and he's also the attorney who swore me in as a sworn in paralegal. But he said to me, Lois, you know the problem with your people. He says your people don't sue. He said when the plane crashed, he said before the bodies could be counted good, the white people already had their lawsuits in. You know, he said, your people don't sue. You know, so if Mama D tells it, she'll tell you Lois will sue anybody if their breath is stinking. She says,
Mama D is something else. That's all I'm gonna say. I know.
I won't sue if their breath is stinking, but I will say something, and I hope that everybody would be the same way toward one another. Don't go talking about, oh, he's stinking, they stink. Don't tell me, hey, I think you need a bath. Or I think you need to put on some deodorant or something. You don't want them to put on perfume and stuff over funk. So, you just got to tell them. And I've had quite a few people that would sit in my car and, leak stuff on your seat and whatever. You have to tell them, no, you can't get in my car. You have to take a bath. You have to clean yourself,
Absolutely. But sister, we winding down, and you know what? We spent over an hour. Is there a particular message that you want to give to the people? How can they help you? A particular message that you want to give to the people?
Well, I just want to let them know that we have, we can only put our trust in God. If we're thinking that this society is going to be in our favor, then I kind of agree with the Honorable Mr. Farrakhan. We better rethink it. We better rethink what's going on here. And he's never done anything for us, and I don't think that nothing's going to happen for us. But we are here for a reason, and whatever that is, if we can all join in together to help one another. Our prisoners they're paying the state $95,000 per year just to lock our people up. Most of our people is 97% locked up. Just look at all the money the state's paying the state to abuse our people. Then when they send them out of jail, they won't even give them $500 in food stamps. Okay. So we have to realize, what's happening here. Our society is not, who do we have to back us up now? Outside of you, Mr. Bradley, doing this particular show and what have you, doing other things you've done, do we have any more Dr. Kings here? Do we have any more Malcolm X's? Do we have anybody in our corner?
Umar Johnson, Malachi York, Minister Farrakhan, and these are powerful brothers. Brother Al Sharpton, it's powerful brothers.
Let me tell you something. This case has been over to the Islam, to Farrakhan's, some of the attorney Muhammad and all of them over there. Mm-hmm. They've done the same thing Okay, they know about this thing. As a matter of fact, when they took the case over there, they had to fly somewhere. They claimed they had to go on the plane, taking my records with them. At that time, I hadn't even gotten copies of them because I trusted them. Okay, so they've been involved in this O2L.
Nation of Islam.
Yes, wow. They've been involved in it. And I was going to join them. I said, well, whoever helps get this $12 million, whatever denomination it is, that's where I'm going to join. So
I want to be in that number.
So
go ahead. I'm just joking.
I gotten ready and started making my little outfit. The nice outfits they wear over there at the Islamic hall over there on 74th. They wear such beautiful garments. So I was going to make myself a garment. I thought for sure those attorneys were going to do something on this case. But the reason why they can't is because they're under an oath. And, people, we're God's people, no matter what, rich, poor, money is not going to make us rich. It's the love of money that's the evil. We all need the money to survive, but the love of it is what's wrong. And so if we can get money to help one another and give to one another, support one another, this is the way they'll finally understand there's a group out there that's really powerful. But, we have to be under the cover still because, our lives are at stake just for talking about it.
Yeah. And, I want to tell people, what, her telephone number to help her out in the endeavor, her telephone number is 1-773-977-4498. And you know what? We're gonna have to do this again.
Let's do so. What? In case we don't.
Underground Railroad, is a television show that comes on in Chicago on Can Television at 10:30 p.m. Plus, we do video production. And I'm asking y'all, please make a donation to my PayPal account because I am working to build a platform. So I am appreciative if it's $1. You know what? It's all God's will. But you have to help. You have to help the Reverend. You should help the Reverend, and it's the right thing to do. Okay.
Excuse me.
And
could you put the email
telephone number up there?
Could you put the email address up there, please?
Who, me?
Yes. Could you put the email, the Lois Trash 23 up there?
Yeah, I will put it there. Hold on for 1 second. Okay. Hold on for 1 second. I know I got it written down. Just 1 second. I'm stumbling.
Just type another one.
I'm stumbling and fumbling and
just type this in, brother. Just type this in.
I got it. Okay. I'm looking right at it.
Okay, LOIS.
Okay. 23 at gmail.com. This is our email address, right? Here.
That's it.
And I'm going to put it in there right now. Okay.
There it is. No, it's TR, not TH. TRASK.
I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
I'm sitting here. I'm multitasking, and I'm sorry about it. I'm trying.
You're doing a great job. We've been trying to do this since about 2:00 today. God is good, and we finally did it. And it didn't take as long as we really thought it was going to take.
Melon. We used the right app. We used the right application. Like I said, Melon.
Who are we on right now? Are we on Melon now?
No, we're on StreamYard. No.
Okay, StreamYard. Okay.
Yeah, so no, not Melon. Yeah, I want to share that. We tried Melon. People that want to use Melon app, you do what you want to, but you know what? It didn't work for us. Okay. And StreamYard, in my opinion, is far superior to Melon live streaming apps. Actually, I'm gonna start doing some promotions and hey, that's what I'm gonna start doing. But you know what? Like I said, help her out. And people that look at the Underground Railroad television show, you know what? Email her, call her, and you know what? Do everything. And I'm gonna put her number up one more time. Okay, that's her number to help her out and share this video because you know what? We have to help each other. You know what? We only put here for a minute. So, like I said, please make a donation to my website. I'm asking. I ain't begging because you know what? I only beg to create. So I want to thank you, you know what, for accepting the invitation to come on the Underground Railroad television show again. We come on every Saturday night at 10:30 on CAN Television. And say a hi there to Minister Williams if she get the chance to see this.
Well, listen, you do the same for me, and thank you again for this. And it's pretty soon all of the unethical judges and lawyers and everyone who's not doing the right thing, they will be taken care of. So all we have to do is continue to pray for one another, love one another, and have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year in case we don't see each other again. God bless you. Love you all.
But I know you, all you got to do is put a prayer on them. Once you put a prayer on them,
all day long. He never fails. He's been good to us.
Ain't no doubt.
Yes.
You know what? It'll make the enemy do things for you that they wouldn't do under normal circumstances. Because after it's all said and done, the Lord above is in control.
He's in control. That's right. And nobody like it. And listen, another thing is that he never fails.
Yeah, because he make the lion lay down with the lamb.
We might think that he's failed us, but he hasn't failed us. He just wants us to love one another. He wants us to help one another. And all of you all who are out there, let's send a donation to Underground. Underground has done so much work for us and been in our corner all the way through. This Underground Railroad is something that we all need to support. And I'm definitely going to send a donation for your time and your efforts. And again, I thank you for allowing me to be here. There's a lot of things we need to talk about more. Feel free to call me anytime, would be okay, or email me. And if so, I will respond to you as soon as possible. I am working on a project right now, whereas I could use a couple of typists to help me get something filed in the federal court. I could use some lawyers' expertise on some ideas on how they feel a strategy might work. But either way it goes, within the next 2 weeks, I hope to be filing this grand lawsuit on all of these so-called demonic people.
Okay. And again, you know what, I'm asking people to share this share this below. You can share to YouTube, to Facebook, to Tumblr, to share this, because help this lady in the plight. Because you know what, this could be your mother, or your grandmother, your aunt, or your cousin. But you know what? But the woman is the first teacher, and you know what? And we have to protect the woman and women in the community, and not abandon them when they put out a distress signal like this. So I like to leave with that. You know.
Well, good night, everyone. Love you all.
All right. Take care, my sister.
Okay. And thank you again. God bless.
All right. Assalamu alaikum, everybody.